Hello from the Music Interview Corner. Day 2 of Tuska, and I'm here with Haken, with Ross and Richard.
How's it going?
Hello.
Thank you so much for taking time for the interview.
Thank you for having us. Should be fun.
And we just discussed Finnish swear words. So we say vittu, which means fuck, but literally it means
Wow. Well, I've learned something new today.
But in Britain you are so polite that you use gender neutral, right?
Well, I think in Australia it's more of a term of endearment, the word. But in the UK it's still quite a rude word.
It's not a word I would use often, honestly. We say things like bugger.
Yeah. Bugger off, you bastard. Yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of word that if you say the word, your mum's going to leave the room.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why my mom left. Now I know. How does it feel for you to play at Tuska today?
Ah, incredible. We've been coming to Finland for coming up to 10 years now, and it's always been a great show for us.
Is this the first Helsinki show we've done that we haven't been on a hungover?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, the Viking line, the famous Viking line. We always arrive on that big boat that travels overnight and get a bit too drunk. And yeah, we're pretty sober.
it's dangerous. It's a dangerous method of reaching the country.
I know, but you're integrating yourself really well if you're getting drunk in Finland.
Sure, yeah. So we're completely sober today, so it should be a, well, maybe. It'll be an accurate show. And
You
not
seem pretty sober and you don't smell. They don't smell like alcohol, guys.
No, we're not big drinkers, but when we get on the Viking line, it all falls apart. Because people are on stag do's there, and it's like a cultural weekend away almost, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's like a mini festival or like a mini vacation, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a bit weird not to arrive on that boat, and we've been here for a day. Yesterday we came to the festival, we saw Gojira headline, and that was one of the best shows I've seen in years. So yeah, really excited to play.
It was amazing, yeah.
Oh, what a show.
It really was, yeah.
I'm also excited to see you guys, because my interviews are going to be over after this one and I can come and watch.
Nice. Well, I hope you enjoy the show.
Probably. In March, you released your album Fauna. Yeah, how was the recording process?
I guess it was much like our other albums where we'll record the drums and the vocals in a studio, and then the rest of the parts we record at home, and then we compile all the files together and send them to a magician to mix. In this case it was Jens Bogren from Sweden who did it, and he really brought those songs to life. But it was a fun process as well. Like the writing process from the beginning to end was an interesting journey. It was like 2 years, I guess, the whole thing took. And yeah, the songs really went on a journey. It was a very fun process.
And I heard that you, Ross, yes, you guy, yeah, exactly. This is Ross, guys. So, in the process of writing the lyrics, you revisited Philip K. Dick's novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and the Blade Runner movie franchise. Can you tell us more about that?
I was going to say it was just an excuse to rewatch my favourite films of all time, basically. But because all the songs were about animals, but I didn't want every song to be necessarily on the nose about specific animals, and without like having some sort of creative way in. And yeah, that novel and the movies, they use animals as sort of symbolically to represent things. So I thought that was a good way in to explore the Blade Runner world in the sort of narrative scape of what we were doing on that song.
And was that also what inspired you to assign an animal to each song?
It wasn't the first one, no. But yeah, that was my way in for that particular song. It was fun, yeah, to write about movies. And we kind of do that a lot, actually. Much of our lyrics and material is sort of drawn from science fiction or any sort of pop culture movies, book references, things like that. So that's just one of many. Yeah.
Cockroach King as well.
Yeah.
Was based on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Similar kind of idea. You just take inspiration from some kind of form of media, and then try and kind of articulate it in a different way. And yeah, we do that a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and how did you like the Netflix show Electric Dreams?
I've not seen it yet.
Because it's also based off of Philip K. Dick's work, but you know probably.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Been too busy.
Of course,
I don't watch TV anymore.
I really liked it because Black Mirror gives me nightmares and Electric Dreams doesn't.
Yeah, love Black Mirror. Yeah, I've seen that, the new series.
Yeah,
The new one is more comedic, right?
In parts, but it's
very dark though. I mean, the second episode is ridiculously dark.
Maybe I should skip that one.
But I mean, there's always that dark undertone with all of those episodes. But Electric Dreams, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Electric
I've
Dreams.
never even heard of that. Is that
I
new?
think maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's not super new, but it wasn't hyped that much. But I liked it.
We need to check that out,
I
don't
might have to rewrite the album now.
we? Yeah, I think
Oh, yeah, maybe or the next one for the next album.
Okay, the sequel. You know. The alphabet of you.
And do you have a favorite song on Fauna?
it's a tricky one because each song is so different from the next one. I think for me, Eyes of Ebony is quite a personal song, so that would always be the song that stands out for me. So whether it's going to be an easy one to play live, who knows? Because we've never done that yet. But yeah, it's a special one for me, so that'd be my choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always sort of sempiternal beings, perhaps. We played it a lot live now, so it's kind of not that it's not special anymore, but I've heard it so many times now and performed it. So maybe a track like Beneath the White Rainbow at the moment seems a bit more fresh to me, and I quite enjoy that one. Yeah, it's got a great chorus.
I have to ask that because there's so much talk about the fifth dimension right now, and your very first demo was called Enter the Fifth Dimension.
Yeah.
Do you believe that we can actually enter the fifth dimension for real, or are we maybe even entering it right now?
Whew, who knows? I think Christopher Nolan would be the best person to ask about that. But funny enough, that EP or demo, whatever it was, wasn't even called that. We didn't even give it a name. We had a tagline on our MySpace page way back, like 2008, and then people just attached it to that demo, and then suddenly it became the name of the demo.
It was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Really, enter the fifth dimension. Like, this is going to blow your minds into another dimension.
Make me curious.
That's kind of where we were coming from. I believe like we are living infinite dimensions simultaneously at all
Like
times.
the multiverse?
Exactly.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
That's very heavy.
This is just one of them.
Yeah, there might be another dimension where I'm sitting in the middle and you're on the side.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
Or maybe a dimension where you have this flower crown and I don't.
I like the sound of
I can
that.
do that now.
Yes, all right.
Are we going into
Oh, yeah.
another dimension right now?
Oh, maybe. Guys, we just entered a different dimension with Haken. This looks actually really good on you.
We're in the fifth dimension.
If
Look
it
at
was
this.
that easy, I would've-
Amazing. I never entered the fifth dimension in an interview before. Thank you so much.
This is it.
Oh yeah, while you're wearing this, I have to ask another question about your band name, about Haken. I heard that was you who said that Haken is a fictional character that you and some high school friends came up with when you were under the influence of alcohol or something else.
Me and Ross grew up together, so we went to primary school together.
Oh, you did it together.
Yeah, and we've got a big group of friends. We used to meet up, and our old guitarist, Matthew Marshall, was there with us, forming the band way back when we were like 16 or so, really. But yeah, the name Haken, it was a fictional character from stories that we used to tell each other. But who knows, really? Everyone's got a different explanation.
But he must be very significant if you named your band after it.
Himself was writing this sort of novel and coming up with these characters and worlds and fantasy worlds, a bit like Lord of the Rings or whatever, you know. And yeah, Haken was one of those characters, like you said. So we're kind of stuck. I don't know, you know, why. We didn't really take it seriously when we named the band. I guess we didn't think it was going to amount to much. I'm not sure.
It's tricky because like there's so many band names. We're like, well, we can't pick that. We can't pick that. That's been done. So Haken is a word that hadn't been used before. So we're like, okay, let's go with that. It'll be original. It'll stick out. And then now we get that question a lot. We don't really have an answer.
It's special because in German it means hook.
Correct. Yeah, we learnt that subsequently. And in a shorter version of this interview, maybe in the sixth dimension.
Oh my God.
Guys, we're entering the sixth dimension now. Okay.
In the sixth
crazy.
dimension, we would say Haken means hooks in German. That's where we got it from. So yeah, that's like hooks in our music.
And another bit of trivia is that we used to have two A's. So it was like Haken. And it was initially, we researched that it was the son of a king in Norway called Olaf.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, but it goes way back. I think it's all a bit blurry even for us, so we can't actually fully remember where it came from.
But it's a really cool name.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to Haken? Does he have superpowers?
I wish he could
I mean-
fly. He could, I don't know, what do you reckon?
I mean, I sing pretty good. That's about it.
And can I ask you guys, what's the craziest thing you have ever done on tour? if you can share that. Maybe you entered dimensions and stuff like that.
I made a cup of tea without milk.
Oh my God, this is honestly the most shocking thing anyone ever told me in an interview.
I mean, it's mad. It's mad. But
What kind of tea was it? Black tea?
It was an English breakfast tea, and I made the tea and I went to the fridge, but there wasn't any milk there, so I just did it without the milk.
And you survived?
Just about. It was a crazy day, but we got through it, didn't we? How about you?
Well, I was just reminiscing about that time we did a festival in Lithuania, and we did this sort of open mic night, and we all swapped instruments, and I don't think anyone remembers what happened, really.
It was back in the day when we used to drink a lot, and it was a bit of a hazy night from what I remember. And that was our first time anywhere near Lithuania.
I seem to remember playing Master of Puppets on drums, badly.
Oh my God.
I think maybe I was playing bass, and the bass guitar was like right down by my feet. I was like doing that, which is impossible to do.
That must have been a really twisted dimension that you entered.
That was the 7th dimension.
Yeah, I think that's where the hat
does
was
it go
made.
back? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. Oh, we're in the 7th dimension now. Let's see how many we get in this interview. You played in different countries, of course. Would you say that there's a difference between the audience, for example, in Europe, in the UK, and in the US?
Oh yeah, 100%. I guess it depends on even the city sometimes in the country, and also the day of the week. So if you're playing on a Friday or a Saturday, we tend to find that people are a bit wasted drinking, and then there's more energy in the crowd sometimes. Whereas on a Monday, people have to work the next day, so there's a different energy in the room. And demographic-wise, sometimes we'll play to younger crowds. So we notice in places like Milan, there'll be a younger fan base there, and they'll be really up for jumping around and giving us a lot of energy. And in other places, the crowd might be a bit older and a bit more reserved and just there to watch the music. But yeah, it definitely varies from place to place. What do you think?
It's never a good idea to go with a certain expectation, because it will always be different, with all those factors you mentioned. There are some places we go to and it's like, oh, last time that was a really great show, everyone was jumping around, and then we do the show and it's a completely different vibe, and then and vice versa as well. There's some places we turn up to and we think it's going to be a really dull show, and we go in and well, we do our thing and we bring it, and like every time, and then suddenly everyone's up and about. It's just hard to predict in general. From my experience, like the South American part of the world, there's definitely something in the air there that's very special, and I think they just really appreciate. Maybe they don't get bands coming through so often, and they're just so excited to be at a show and just shouting and singing along as loud as they can, and it's crazy. It's really good fun. But that can happen anywhere in the world, really. Like it's just. One
show sticking out on our last tour in Europe was the London show,
right?
And we always have a good show there, but this one there was a lot of energy in the room, and it felt like a special show for us because we're playing Shepherd's Bush Empire.
Oh, cool!
And yeah, the fan base there's quite a lot of young people there in the mosh pit. They were moshing for the whole set, and even during like the ambient moments or the kind of quirky breaks, they were just going crazy for the whole show. So yeah, you never know what to expect, and it does vary place to place.
I mean, there's a lot going on in our music, so we do tend to see people are concentrating really hard and trying to study what we're doing. So that's a part of it as well. You can't always be jumping around drunk. It's there's a different vibe depending on the songs.
Yeah, I was really fascinated when I researched your music. Then I went into the more deeper thought processes, and now I'm gonna really enjoy the music when I watch you.
We can't even understand what's going on, so we can't expect the fans to understand.
Well, is it too many dimensions clashing together?
That's what it is, I think. There's too many layered dimensions going on.
Because last time I went over and they thought I kidnapped the band. I didn't, but they couldn't enter because the door was broken. Yes, you see that? It's not a dimension in which I kidnap bands. Not anymore. That's a question for you. Ross. This is Ross. We have a question for him. You just published your 2nd solo album. Can you tell us more about that? Was it 2nd? Which one? How many do you have?
I have one solo album.
Oh, you're working on the 2nd?
You might be referring to the project I've done with Neil Morse.
Yes, I think.
De Virgilio, which isn't technically a solo album, but it's a trio project, and it's heavily based in the sort of the country folk singer-songwriter world, which is like removed from all 3 of us, our projects, usually in prog or prog metal. But that's it was a good opportunity to do something different and flex some different creative muscles. It's been really good fun working with those guys, and you know, like when I was growing up listening to getting into this kind of music, Spock's Beard were like up there as one of the major acts. So really cool to be working with Nick and Neil. Yeah, it's like it's come full circle, and I'm sort of giving back. So it's yeah, it's been great.
Cool. And when you worked on your solo album, what would you say the biggest difference is between working as a solo artist and creating music with these guys here, with him and the others?
The big thing about the solo album was it all happened during the pandemic, and we had no choice, and we were all, you know, in our individual spots in the world, and so, you know, some of us were hungry to like be creative, and but without the band, like, you know, solo project was the only sort of obvious sort of thing we could sort of get on with. So I had fun, like, you know, again, like it was more in the sort of classic rock world. So another sort of strand of music which I love, and I could sort of put my ideas into that. There wouldn't songs that wouldn't necessarily work in the context of Haken, you know. So it's fun to have that outlet and let off that steam.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Then you used the pandemic wisely.
Exactly, yeah.
Which dimension did you enter while making the solo album?
Well, that's for you. That's for me to know, and for you to wonder.
That's good, yes.
Who knows?
There needs to be some mystery.
Who knows? Yeah, there's got to be mystery.
And since your album is so connected to animals, you know that probably a lot of metalheads love cats and dogs. Do you have pets, and would you like to talk about them?
Yeah, I've got 2 cats.
Oh.
Ross has got a cat, but we've got an even better story.
Yeah, do tell.
Oh yes.
In the US, we rescued a cat.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
Yeah, so we were walking home from a bar one night, and we heard a cat meowing, and we found this tiny little kitten inside a drain next to a highway where there was like loads of really crazy cars going fast. And we picked him up and we took him back to the bus. We ended up taking him into the bus for about 3 or 4 days, and our sound guy Joe lived kind of close to where we were at the time, and he basically took the cat home, and the cat's now living with our sound guy.
Oh, what's her name?
Haken.
Haken. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it was because we didn't know what to do. We had this cat. We were like, surely we can't take the cat onto the bus. Like, we can't do that. But then our tour manager's like, let's just do it. Let's do it. And Joe phoned his wife and said, is it okay to bring the cat back? And it just happened. And now the cat has a safe home. So, yeah. And Joe keeps sending us photos and videos of Haken growing up. And he's very happy now. So.
Oh, if you could, I don't know if you could send me a video, if I can find it somewhere, we could add a picture of the cat, of little Haken in the interview.
Send us an email, we'll send you the video.
Oh, perfect, guys, then you can see little Haken. That's such a beautiful story.
That'd be great.
Would you like to say anything to your fans?
Well, we love being in Finland. It's always a pleasure being here. Thank you for the support over the years, and hopefully we'll be back next year doing another show, maybe based around Fauna.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, thanks for spinning the album, buying it this year, and supporting us, and hopefully many more to come.
Yes, and thank you so much, Richard, and this is Ross. Thank you guys so much for the interview. It was fun. And goodbye from the Music Interview Corner.